Okay, seeing a quorum in attendance, I will call this meeting to order. We'll start with attendance. Start over here with Will.
William Coates present.
Rowan East present.
Hey, Barry present.
Matthew Rathbun present.
Steffi Calero present.
Sky Childress present.
Patrick Cerrera present.
Emma Fox present.
Maria Garcia present.
Urvi Paul present.
Amazing. Okay, on to our reading of the mission statement. Well, first, are there any counselors online? Okay, on to reading of the mission statement. Do I have a volunteer? Okay, Urvi, go ahead.
To support the evolving needs of the MSU Denver students by advocating in their best interests to enhance the university experience and opportunities.
Amazing. Thank you so much. Okay, on to approval of agenda and previous meeting minutes. If I could have the presenter, amazing. Pull up the meeting minutes. For the record, Cyrus just walked in. Okay, do I have a motion to approve the minutes from last week?
I second motion to approve the minutes from last week.
And is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, is there any opposition to approving the meeting minutes from last week? Seeing none, by unanimous consent, the meeting minutes are approved. On to approval of the agenda. On the agenda, we have housekeeping, which we're in right now. Then we'll go on to public comment, announcements and updates, old business, where we'll see CRFA 2501 immigrant rights trainings. We will see revisiting TSAC goals and accountability. On to new business, where we will elect a representative for the Student Code of Conduct Review Committee. We will look at the ABOD vote initiative. We will look to read through executive assistant duties, responsibilities with advisors, and then a discussion on the elections fund, followed by closing at 7. Do I have any discussion on the agenda? Amazing. Seeing none, do I have a motion to approve the agenda?
I motion to approve the agenda.
Is there a second?
I second.
Amazing. Any opposition to approving the agenda today? I will call that passed by unanimous consent. On to public comment. We are just a couple minutes early from 5:05. I do not see any members of the public in attendance. Are there any online? Okay. We will move on to announcements and updates. If a member of the public does walk in or join online and they make their presence known, we will go to them if they'd like to give public comment. On to announcements and updates with staff advisors. Who would like to go first? Let's start with
go
Steven.
first. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to meeting number technically 6 on the year. So very exciting for you all. Few updates that I have for you all. Payments for September service in TSAC have gone through and are being processed. So as always, if any issues come through, please come see me this year. I'm the one who's doing all the processing for payments if there are any concerns as well. At our last meeting, or it might have been even 2 meetings ago, you had all asked for both David Fine and Andrew Rauch to come and present at this meeting. At this point, I was able to get in touch with Andrew, and Andrew is slated to come, who is the budget director here at MSU Denver. He will be coming on October 9th. That is the soonest he is available. So it will be the week after President Davidson comes, which I think is pretty good for that. I have not received a response yet from David Fine. Still waiting on that. And then you all should have received a Canvas notification as well as my message in the Teams channel today regarding the hazing prevention awareness training. I just wanted to take a moment to talk a little bit about that and where it's coming from. There has been federal legislation that was passed down to all colleges and universities that requires us to do some kind of training and student development focus on hazing awareness, bystander education, and intervention. This is very similar to what was passed down from the federal administration probably in 2013, 2014 with regards to Title IX. So MSU, Denver, and a lot of other colleges and universities are trying their best to try to catch up with this in order to remain in compliance with what they're asking for. Essentially, every single student needs to go through this hazing awareness training. Because of that, we are trying to do it in spurts. So there is a full strategy to go out for this. Right now, I am involved with the all student strategy and the student leadership strategy. You all as student leaders are part of different cohorts that as student leaders would fall under my purview. So that is where this is coming from. My ask is if you have any questions, please come chat with me. This is an actual rollout, so it's been rolled out to quite a few different groups on campus: student employees, student leaders, student organization leaders as well, for specifically those that have gone through their recognition and are fully registered by now. It is going to be going out into wider student employees across campus. It's going to be going out to student athletes, and soon we're going to be delivering some in-person sessions for all of campus. And we're trying to figure out what those look like. So my ask from you all is please do complete that Canvas module by September 30th. You all should have received the email notification. It should show up in your Canvas page. I promise it takes maybe 20 minutes. There's some videos in it. There are some presentations within it. There are 3 actual assessments in it. And that's all I have. I yield my time to Dr. Barone.
Wonderful.
Hi, everyone. I just have a few announcements. The first one is I actually have some good news. We received notification today that I think I had shared last week. We're working through the TRIO High School Upward Bound grant. We did receive our notification that that grant is to be continued. So I was really happy about that this morning. It's $467,000 coming to the university to support the team and that work doing recruitment and supporting college preparation in 5 DPS high schools. So really excited about East is one of them. East, West, North, Manual, and what's the other one? East, North, West, Manual, South. No, not South. No, I don't know. I know there's 5. The important thing is that there are 5 Denver public schools that we are working to support in that. So really excited about that. And that's one of the programs that I'm responsible for. So that's good news. And then the other thing that I wanted to share, Stephen talked about this last week a little bit, and I just wanted to let you all know, and I think today Sky in President's Cabinet, Meredith, also let you know too, that we are going to be getting some additional information and a request to have TSAC members sit on our university strategic plan committees, our work groups. So there are 5 of them. The 4 that we're really looking for representation on, and I think Sky might have already talked to Megan, is our recruitment, retention, completion, and post-grad outcomes work groups. I have asked that they provide a little bit more detail when they're asking for reps so that you all know when their meeting times are, what cadence the meetings are. Is it asynchronous? Is it not? So that you all know what you're getting into in terms of a commitment, because I know you all have a lot on your plates already. And so I want to be really thoughtful and mindful about what we're asking you to do as you're stepping on to those work groups or deciding if you want to commit to something like that. So more information I think will come to Sky, probably you. Yep. But that's an important place for you all to really share your perspective and your voice. So just wanted you to know about that. And then the last thing I'll say is for those who expressed interest in the Haku conference that is coming up in November, I guess. Yeah, early November. Those decisions should be made. We're reviewing those applications now, and we will be letting folks know next week, probably, if not sooner. Next week, probably, who will be able to receive those scholarships to attend that conference through our student travel program. I think that's all I have. Just wanted to say, yeah, I think you all have some great things going on, and I'm hoping that, yeah, you're able to move forward with budget soon-ish and figuring out your yeah, just logistically how you all are going to run meetings and then really focusing on your goals and getting those things solidified as we move forward because we're in week 6. So just want to remind you all of that. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Brown. Armando?
I just have one, not little
Right.
thing, but just one thing they touched on all logistics wise. I did have a student come to me furious about the student travel decreases and stuff like that. I did refer them to Irvi as Irvi is on the student travel committee. We've been fielding a lot of frustration with that. So I just wanted to let you know, come in. I just wanted to let you know that that is going to be coming down the pipeline from a lot of students.
I'll have to pause really quickly.
Yep.
Hi,
I'm
would you like to give public comments today? Oh, awesome. Okay.
So
Could you give us your name and
Yes.
then we'll go ahead?
hello, everyone. My name is Miriam. My name is Miriam Pham. My pronouns are she, her, or hers. And this is my first time here at the student government. I was interested in coming to one of the council meetings. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to make it to the previous meetings, but I figured that I would stop by today. Yeah, I'm here and I'm excited to hear what is being discussed right now.
Awesome. Any other public comments?
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm not sure what we're discussing at the moment.
If there's anything you wanted to bring to us, if not, we'll continue. No worries.
Oh, okay. Well, right now at the moment, I'm not sure what to say. So if I can comment later on, I'd comment later on.
Okay. This is our only allotted public comment time at the moment. However, we're very excited to have you here today. So we'll continue with the business. Thank you so much. Okay, back to Armando. Go ahead. Okay, we were just finishing up our updates. So our staff advisors updates. Oh, Dr. Brown had one more thing.
Sorry, one thing I forgot to mention, I'm actually leaving the meeting right now to go to the HSI celebration, which is tonight. So I wanted to say, excuse myself, thank you all for having me, and I will see you soon. Bye.
Thank you, Dr. Brown. Amazing. Okay, on to standing committees. Do I have any updates from standing committee reps? Let's start right over here with budget. Yeah.
So yesterday we had our budget meeting, and we discussed the proposals for all the standing committees. Based on all the proposals, we came to the conclusion that we have allocated the money, but nothing has been yet approved. And to process that further, we have Tuesday meeting on the 23rd of September from 5 p.m. to 6 p.m. And hopefully we might approve our budget by then.
And just to add there, just to reassure, our plan is we will be setting out the agenda here soon. So we're going to be very explicit how we're going to be running the meeting there, so we can make sure that not just that we are prepared, but everyone within the budget committee is prepared and is able to digest information, possible feedback between now and Tuesday. But I would like to address anyone that's in the budget committee to please plan on voting. That is, I'm going to be, because I would like to add this to the agenda on Thursday, because not just for us, but also for like the student community, for those who are trying to get student travel, for those student organizations, it is imperative that we get this voted in ASAP, regardless of our own thing, but it's just more of for what the bigger picture is here and what we're here for. So I just want to make sure everyone to keep that in mind, to keep that process. We will be, I do plan on voting there. So just keep it in mind and keep out an eye for that agenda. We're going to be posting here soon. And yeah, thank y'all.
Amazing. Any other updates from budget? Okay, seeing none, on to another committee. Any other committee representatives have something to say? Let's go on to Matt and accountability.
Just a quick one, because we had talked about, well, Dr. Brown kind of brought it up to get us back to our goals that we agreed upon over the summer. I just want to say that Emma has brought up some good ideas that we're working on to try and help us get more focused back to our goals.
Awesome. Anything else from our accountability folks? Okay, let's move on. I'll start with sustainability. I don't have much of an update today. We did not meet this previous week. The verdict's out on a lot of things that I want to give you updates on that I do not have at the current moment. The Tri-Institutional Planning Committee that I go to plan the Tri-Institutional Know Your Rights event is happening tomorrow from 4 to 5. If you want to be there, please be there. Not required. I will report back from it. Thank you all. Okay, and then we'll go on to
Just a question.
Yeah.
Do you mind elaborating on the training you're talking about?
Oh, yes.
Just a little
absolutely.
bit
Yeah.
for our guest here.
No, certainly. I apologize. So sustainability is working with the other 2 student governments on campus and some other orgs to plan an immigration know your rights training and resource fair for immigration related resources. It's going to be on October 22nd, time to be determined, hopefully tomorrow, and more details coming in the next meeting. Okay, wonderful. Is there anyone from PR that would like to give an update?
I can start with an update and then Irby can update the rest, but I would like to give some update for the bring your kids to the college day event, which is October 4th on a Saturday from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. We are asking council members if they are available to fill out the poll, please, because that will help us plan which majors or activity we will do. So far we only have Sais, myself and Susanna. If you're not available, please let us know. Yes. And then another update I would like to give is PR has decided to collaborate with Psychi. Psychi is the Psychological Honor Society. They are holding a Halloween event on October 29th. Yes, 29th. And I can pull up yes.
I want to state for the record really quickly that Miss Susana Villagomez did just walk in. Go ahead, sorry.
No, it's all good. So yeah, it's a Halloween movie night, which they will have a psychology related horror movie, Halloween crafts, food, and more stuff. Like I said, it's October 29th from 5 to 8 p.m. And I would just like to have it known for council members to see if they're available to help out, if they're available to even just attend, because they want to know if they should get a bigger number now that we have decided to collaborate with them. Last year it was a really great event. It was a lot of students turn out, so the hope of us collaborating is for more students to attend. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
Awesome. Did you have more, Arvi? Oh, I guess Susanna's there too, but go ahead, Arvi.
So we also have an update about LinkedIn workshop in collaboration with Lambda, Theta, and Nu Sorority. We are in touch with C2 Hub, and they agreed to do the LinkedIn workshop to train the students for updating their LinkedIn. And we also have professional headshots, and we are also in touch with the photographer for that. We have not yet decided with the date, but October 23rd. And also we are also planning to do a catering for that event. So we were thinking of doing some lunch boxes for that event, maybe from Subway or Chipotle, and then have Red Bull sponsorship. We're still looking at the prices and the budget that we have right now. And another update is we have Resource Monday. We would be starting our resource from 29th of September to post our first resource from SGT SAC's social media account, our Instagram. And third update that I have is about having the council Instagram takeover, which we would be doing a link to sign up the sheet to the team of the council members who are available during that time and can share their day, what they're doing in the day, how's the council day feels like. And yeah, if Susanna has any other updates, please.
Any other from PR?
Thank you for my vice chairs giving the updates. I do apologize for being late. I was being behind from another meeting, but and one last update, we are planning to do a resolution on Canva Pro because that is something we have agreed within as a committee. So a resolution should be by next week or the week after that. But yeah, that's pretty much it from PR.
Armando, did you have something from PR? Go ahead.
Can you, for minutes purposes, can you repeat the time for the 11th Data News C2 Hub SGT Stack LinkedIn workshop?
Like the date, we haven't confirmed the date. The date is confirmed, but the time hasn't confirmed it. We're still discussing about more details.
On to Patrick?
Yeah, I just wanted to say, I think all those align really well with our, not just our mission, but also like what our goals that we're trying to do. It helps us build community, also introducing us as counselors. And even furthermore, on an academic perspective, it allows us to, help not just ourselves, but our fellow classmates as students to elevate to that next level. So I think these are fantastic ideas coming from the PR team. So I wanted to really give y'all, I don't know how to say it, your flowers. Yes, kudos.
Okay, amazing. Patrick, would you like to start or me on chairs? Okay, I'll go ahead and start with the chairs update. Some of the stuff Dr. Brown was talking about earlier. I attached to the agenda today on the second page a written update from President's Cabinet, which we met today at 11. I'm not going to read this document to you, but I will go over some of the big keynotes. James Mejia is leaving MSU Denver. I'm sad to see him go. I know we have some folks on some of the Mejia teams, as we called them. That position is being taken over by Casey Gerhardt, I believe former presidential faculty fellow, I think, and now holds two different titles being merged to one. President Davidson recognizes that the tragedies of the school shootings that occurred on September 10th and reaffirms that MSU Denver is committed to dialogue and civic debate. The HSI grants that have been canceled, however, we don't have any programming changes at the current moment. We've been able to adjust without that HSI money, just so everyone is aware. Retention is still up. It is up by even more than last time when we talked. Right now, it is up 4% higher than ever in the history of MSU Denver, which is really cool. There have been a couple construction projects that have broken ground. You may have seen some construction around campus. The MSU Denver Student Housing and the Campus Safety Center have broken ground. The big beautiful bill that we've heard about that cut $900 million from the state of Colorado. The verdict is in on that. We're going to lose $881,000 in state funding this year. However, because of that increase in enrollment, that's already been covered. So very nice there. At the direction of President Davidson, the Budget Office will be engaging in conversation around the stewardship of public funds to ensure that departments are spending money wisely. This year, there will be a lot more budget. I guess audits, is that internal audits? Probably the best word for that. Just something to keep in mind, especially because we manage funds for the university too. And then the president is hosting an Ask Me Anything event on October 2nd from 3 to 4 in this room. Feel free to come and ask Dr. Davidson anything you'd like. Onto the provost updates. The two new master's programs that our student trustee told us about last week are there, and they are in the School of Hospitality. I believe we only had 4 master's programs before, so I think that's our 6th one, I think is the number we're at. So that's a pretty substantial increase in master's programs. So very exciting. On strategic plan updates. So Dr. Jeffers came to speak to us today, and as MSU Denver gets closer and closer to its strategic plan, which ends in 2030, they are requesting TSAC representatives on some working groups. There's one on recruitment, one on retention, completion, post-grad outcomes, and organization health. I talked with Dr. Jeffers today after that meeting, and we've teamed back a little bit here and there, and we have come to the conclusion that the best is going to be appointing 4 TSAC members to serve on essentially all of these working groups, but they would each, split that work up between them and how it works best. These working groups will be both asynchronous and synchronous. So there will be regular meetings that are optional. You can go, and there will be asynchronous work as well. I'll have more info next week, and I'll have a little bit of a more description on each one. And I will have a proposal for the council to vote and add members to that. Just want to give you that update. New policy in effect as of September 1st. To be in compliance with the state law, they added a policy regarding access to information and immigration-related requests. This policy does not really have an effect on MSU Denver because this is already what we were doing, but because of state law, we've added the policy. Feel free to read it. It's hyperlinked in this document. This document is in the SharePoint. And then there are two policies open for public comments. I touched on this in my UPAC updates last meeting. The social media policy and the conflict of interest and commitment policy are now open for comment. You can just Google MSU Denver public comment policies, or I also linked it in this document too, if you'd like to give comment on the social media policy and the conflict of interest and commitment policy. For shared government updates, there wasn't much updates from the other shared government bodies, but I did give an update on the things we've been working on. If you'd like to see what I give an update on, it's also hyperlinked in here as a document. And then for President's Cabinet, we meet on the second to last Thursday of each month from 11 to 12:30. Feel free to be there. The lobby is open and available for folks to see what goes on in President's Cabinet. I'll pass it off to my co-chair to finish up. Co-chair.
Yeah, I mean, fantastic job on the updates for our presidential cabinet. As far as between us ourselves, if anyone who has been paying attention to the agenda, we did put in for next week. We're planning on introducing a discussion on what we have been currently working on and currently seeking also more help, not just, of course we need to have our 3 authors, but before our guideship line, which, guys worked a lot of previously on it, and I'm also trying to put in my input on it and get those things started. So hopefully you guys should be seeing that next week. So do plan on having a discussion on that. It will be available so we can, digest, and obviously we want to have a collaborative effort here and then a good discussion regarding what the future of not just chairship and, TSAC in those regards. So just keep in mind out for that. And those are the only updates I have.
I also wanted to say that on our guidelines and procedures for the chairship and our rules of order for TSAC, I invite TSAC counselors to work on those documents. I invite you to go and add comments to those documents. The TSAC rules of order document will essentially lay out how these meetings will work. I really want you guys' input on it. Please do so.
And I believe it should be on SharePoint. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so
it's in the resolutions folder. Mm-hmm. So absolutely. It's also linked on the agenda for next week on the agenda request doc, if that's easier for you to get to. Feel free to leave comments.
Thank you.
On to advisory committees. Are there any advisory committee reps that would like to give an update? Let's go to Matt.
This last Mike's not on this council anymore. So last week, Faye and I went to the integrated planning. What was the last word of that group? I don't know. Got cut off on the agenda. But I just wanted to say that we were the only 2 student representatives at that meeting, even though it was invited for representatives from the other 2 schools. And one kind of cool thing that I think we got brought up, at least as a question, and some support from a CU Denver staff to ask the question further during a working group, is actually trying to get the CU Denver part of the Tivoli back onto like the whole of Tivoli Reimagined. So where iPi is, like there's that little courtyard and that other entrance right across, that is all CU Denver owned or run right now. But even one of the CU Denver reps on this committee also brought up the similar aspect of why is this going towards one school? Because it is an extra if I remember correctly, about 16,000 square feet. So I don't know where it's at this point, but we did at least pose a question. So it's going farther up the chain to see where that's going to go at.
Anything else? Okay. I also want to ask, is that what I keep seeing called the Tivoli Annex? Is that what that is? Okay. Yeah. I always see that. Okay. I never looked to see it. Okay. Wonderful. Other advisory committees. Let's go to Irvi. We're gonna go to Faye really quickly. Do you have anything else for interagency planning? I'm sorry.
I was just gonna say that the meeting also just covered the process of what that group is going to
Yeah.
do, and where that group fits into the process of reviewing projects. So if people want to hear more about that, we can explain that, but that's all.
Awesome. Back to Lisa.
So I also have an update about travel committee. I want to follow up with the question which came in the last meeting for TSAC about why there has been a cut in the student travel program. So we have handed records to support the students from the past 2 years, and we do not have no longer the roll forward to utilize in our budget. So we are demanding advocating for increasing of the funds to equally support the student voices on campus. Last year, we supported around 650 students, and today, right now, we have budget of 250K, and it's only structured to support 450 to 475 students this year. There has been a reduction of 50%, and we have started to advocate for increasing of the funds. So there would be a form to share the student stories, how student travel committee has supported students in the former years, sharing the information with your peers or speak up in the meetings of president cabinets or something. We would need this chance to represent the students, how we can help them secure this additional funding for the future. I also have an email from Dave Barossa, the Director for Student Travel. I would forward it to all the council members and our advisors so that they can read that through. Thank you.
Amazing. Patrick?
Yeah, just sort of a little background for anyone isn't really super familiar with the budget as far as student travel. That does come from our student affairs fee that we as students pay every year, like, to get enrolled. So that is something that we, SAB, our chairs are going to be allocating that. That's going to be something that we are like represented in there. So that funding comes from us. Just want to make sure if anyone didn't know, that is a student affairs fee funded thing.
Okay. Amazing. Anything else on student travel? Okay. Other advisory committees? Let's go over to Cyrus.
Right, so Tivoli Reimagined, right. So Tivoli Reimagined had their fourth meeting on Monday. It's pretty good. We went over the results. I think I've mentioned it, but there were 1,400 responses within 2 weeks, which is a record for our school. Majority of the responses were MSU Denver students. We're the TSAC for MSU Denver, so it's pretty. Thought I'd share that. It was 75% undergrad and 95% live off campus, which makes sense with our demographics. For the design concepts, there's 3 ideas. There's a winter garden idea, which is, open with interior light and student-centered design. There's a courtyard design, which is exterior, centered. And it has like a big wow arrival experience when you get in. And then there's the hybrid option, which is both places. The next session is on October 20th. Time is undecided yet. It's for the committee to vote on. I can also forward the slides over, which has like a ton of information, like from the history of Tivoli, which is actually very deep. And that's pretty much it. There was a student engagement activity yesterday, but unfortunately, Patrick and myself were not able to attend it. But it was just about getting students excited for what is to come. So thank you.
Amazing. Do you have anything else, Patrick?
No, my guy got it covered.
Amazing. Okay. Rowan, are you on Tivoli Reimagined committee with SACAB stuff? Do you have any update or?
No, I'm not on that committee with SACAB. Main update that I have for SACAB is the ABOD vote initiative, but that's on the agenda for later. So
okay, wonderful. Also, just to clarify, SACAB is under the advisory committee section on the agenda. So if SACAB reps do have an update, feel free to give it now. Okay. Any other advisory committee folks? Let's go to Faye.
In Faculty Senate, we had academic misconduct updates as a new process is being put in place. Main changes that they talked about was that incident reports have been dropped to 10 days from 20. The grade penalty happens after responsibility is decided. The Dean of Students and faculty can now co-investigate students. Appeals can only be submitted if a student remains in class. That is very different from how the process used to be. FYI filings are now a thing that faculty can do, which essentially means, hey, I don't want to do anything with this information right now, but I'm just letting the Dean of Students know that this is a concern I have about this student. Communication about grade and educational outcomes are now combined instead of being separate emails that the student will receive. The end of semester, if a report is received at the end of the semester, professors are now required to give incompletes instead of having a different kind of grade stand. And there are feedback sessions for faculty and students who go through this process on October 30th and December 15th. So if you know if anyone that goes through that, they can give their feedback in those. Other than that, there's updates about the catalog being changed, or like accessing the catalog and how that happens is being changed, but that's a much more minor detail.
Let's go to Will.
I have a direct question. Did they state at all why they shifted that policy or they made that change, like during the meeting?
Of any specific one of those, or
The one
just in
where
general?
someone can't file, is it the complaint or the
FYI.
The FYI complaint?
the FYI complaint
so the
after they,
Dean
if
of
they leave?
Students said that that was a specific request that they had had from faculty, because there have been times where faculty have had suspicions of, like, say, AI use, but they don't feel it is often enough, or whatever personal reason that the professor just doesn't want to move forward with it. They can just file with the Dean of Students to be like, hey, just so you know, this is a concern that I have about this student. I personally don't want to do anything about it, though. The Dean of Students also said that they were excited about this change because then that meant if a student received multiple FYI filings from different professors, that could also lead to an investigation.
Okay, thank you.
Patrick?
Yeah, I just want to say I did miss the first part of it. I just heard that last part where you said that a student can do it while they're still registered into that course. Could you repeat that first one, that first policy?
Of that specific policy?
Yes, please.
It's just that appeals, so the appealing the decision that gets made in your case can only happen if you are still registered in the course to which you were being investigated.
Thank you.
For sake of time, is it pressing?
No, not pressing.
Okay. Any other advisory committees? Other than faculty, staff, senate? Okay, wonderful. Let's move on to open floor. Matt?
So I want to kind of reiterate this concern that I've been having. So I do love that PR is getting the ground running with their event ideas. I still want some aspect, and I think this is a little bit more of a conversation for the budget committee once we get to updating our procedures. But I want some aspect of how we track how our money is approved to be spent. Historically, we have done that through resolutions. I'm not saying that that is the best method. I think we can come up with a more efficient way. But I am worried with the fact we're kind of going without any.
Okay, we're open. Armando?
I will say for everything that has been purchased has come through with a budget request sheet, similar to what we've been using last year, that, whenever you have an event, you put everything listed with the, like a, what I'm talking about? Just the allocation request sheets. So PR has done that, and they do have all those sheets for their events. So that is one form of tracking that is being done.
Back to Matt.
My point is more on like the intentions and like why we're using this money. And again, I think we can come up with nice, easy ways to do it. I'm not saying it needs to be complicated, but I would like some record of like, and I'm just using PR since they've already trying to get moving, which I really appreciate and I do like. Just some level of tracking, like, hey, this is towards this goal, this one we're doing because of this. So if we ever have to look backwards, we can easily find this was approved for this reason and this is what it was spent. So there's a lot less questions if there's anything that comes up and we do have to look backwards at records.
Susanna?
I think we have multiple discussions about this already, but I guess like what Armando said, everything that does get approved, it is tracked through that budget sheet that we do send out to the advisors because we physically cannot buy the stuff. They have to buy it for us. And since Ovi is budget chair, and like I stated within that guideline, I am working with budget chair, and budget chair does know about, not just to call out Ovi, but just to say out the guidelines that we've been working together and they do know. And as a committee, we do approve those that budget within that event. And within that guideline, it just says that whenever what the budget was allocated to, that we are straightwayly responsible for that budget for the best interest of the students and not in interest of conflict. Yes.
Harvey?
So I have also been in discussion with our advisors, so I always keep track weekly what is being spent and not.
Okay. I don't usually raise my hand because I'm the chair, but I've had my hand up in my brain. So I'm going to say something. I think more so than tracking's important. Yes, I'm not dissing that. The approval and I think to Matt's point is ensuring that money being spent, we know why it's being spent, how it goes to our mission. I think in previous times we had resolutions for that. I think Matt was, talking a little bit about maybe there's an alternate way to do that. I think I would ask our budget chairs to plan a meeting to revise the budget guidelines via an amendment to the Constitution. And I would love to be involved in that as a member of the budget committee. But I think that would more so solve a lot of these problems. Not problems. I don't want to say it because that's a negative connotation. It would put this issue sort of to rest a little bit. I'll see hands. Did you have direct response?
I was going to say the same.
Okay, let's go to Matt.
So that is more essentially what I was trying to get at. I'm not trying to directly stop anything right now. I just want to bring it to the council's attention that I do think it's a problem we do need to find a solution to. And again, it can probably be something pretty simple and still be approved at the committee level versus everything having to come to the council. I'm totally open to it. I just think it's something that we should work on. Because even right now, we just stated all that stuff is pretty much passed and we have a resolution to pass a different event today. That adds some incongruency in methods.
Okay, we are 2 minutes past time for this section. Is it urgent, Armando? Armando, go ahead.
Last thing I would suggest for PR committee, for any committee really, NE in our training did give everyone a very comprehensive document on planning events. I would suggest that everyone kind of just have an event sheet with the budget, logistics and everything, upload that into their SharePoint, and then we can hyperlink those into our meeting agenda so everyone sees intention, cost, logistics and everything for once. And I think that's a cool way to just introduce events that may be easy for you all.
Sounds amazing. Okay, I will say one thing on the Canva Pro resolution. I would also like to see that involve Bitly as well, getting a premium subscription to Bitly so that we can track who scans our QR codes on our flyers. I'd love to work with the PR committee, which I am a member, on that too. So just FYI. Okay, any other open floor? Amazing. Let's move on to old business. I'll pass it off to my co-chair for old business.
Thank you so much, Sky. Alrighty, everybody. So let's start off with where we left off last week. This is actually more of a reintroduced version of what we read previously. So do keep an eye out. There are slight changes if you guys haven't been looking at it soon. So I'm going to give up the mic to, well, I'm going to give the hear our lovely co-chairs voice about this. So everyone, please pay attention. Thank y'all.
Hi. Okay. This amendment, this resolution is largely unchanged. There are some parts that have been changed. I will reread it because it is a new version. CRFA 2501, resolution to co-sponsor immigrant rights trainings, authored by Sky Childress, sponsored by Colorado Immigrant Rights Coalition and MSU Denver Immigrant Services Program. Abstract. This SGTSAC Sustainability Committee resolution authorizes funding and collaboration to host campus-wide Know Your Rights events addressing immigration and customs enforcement practices. Recognizing threats to due process and racial/ethnic targeting, it emphasizes community education as a vital defense, partnering with the Colorado Immigrant Rights Coalition, MSU Denver Immigrant Services, MSU Denver's Gender Institute for Teaching and Advocacy, and CU Denver and CCD student organizations and student governments. Events will provide immigration rights trainings and resources to all Aurora campus students, faculty, staff, and community members. SGTSAC will contribute up to $500 initially per event from its Sustainability Committee fund to help cover these venue costs, light food, and resource materials, ensuring support for all students regardless of immigration status. Whereas the Sustainability Committee of SGTSAC strives to ensure that all students have access to essential resources and opportunities that support their personal development, career advancement, and academic success. Whereas in today's unprecedented times, the United States government has taken a deplorable action and ordered its Department of Homeland Security to detain and deport millions of people who live on the land the U.S. sits on. Whereas DHS, through its Division Immigration and Customs Enforcement, is enforcing the order by arbitrarily kidnapping people based on race or ethnicity, indefinitely detaining them and denying them due process. Whereas, considering this order being enforced, an important piece of ensuring access to resources and opportunities includes ensuring they have access to knowledge and resources that are useful in defending themselves from this assault. Whereas one of the strongest defenses that ordinary people have against this assault on basic rights and freedoms is community response, community education, and refusal of community to accept this behavior as normal. Whereas the Colorado Immigrant Rights Coalition is a group of community organizations and individuals that believe in the inherent dignity and human rights of every person, regardless of immigration status, CIRC advocates for the rights of immigrants and refugees, supports grassroots organizations, educates community about immigration issues and realities, and helps connect oppressed groups together to work in solidarity in a common struggle. Whereas among the members of CIRC, there are many people who have been trained to teach immigration know your rights trainings. These trainings cover what to do if ICE contacts you or someone you care about, how to prepare yourself and others for interacting with ICE, among other important information for the community to learn. Whereas MSU Denver's Immigrant Services Program collects a set of resources available to students who are immigrants or otherwise concerned about their immigration status. Whereas spreading resources and know your rights information is aligned with both the mission of the Sustainability Committee of SGTSAC and of SGTSAC itself, and support all our students regardless of immigration status. Therefore, be it resolved, in collaboration with the MSU Denver Immigrant Services Program, the Colorado Immigrant Rights Coalition, and student organizations and the student governments of CU Denver and CCD, we will co-host immigration know your rights trainings and resource sharing events open to all students, faculty, staff, and community members of the Aurora campus. Finally, be it resolved, SGTSAC will share the expenses of reserving space, catering, and producing resource flyers for these events at a maximum initial contribution from SGTSAC of $500 per event. These funds will be taken from the Sustainability Committee Fund.
Thank you so much, Sky. I wanted to open the floor for discussion. Okay.
Does the Gender Institute for Teaching and Advocacy need to be added to that first therefore? As it was listed in a whereas, but it is not listed in therefore.
Sky, has follow.
I have not heard concrete ways that Gita wants to participate in this event yet, so I did not include them in the therefore and only include them in the abstract.
Yeah, I did want to say, like, I do find this very key to one of our goals, which we'll be discussing later, but it is something that we have not only just this semester, but previous iterations of student council have been committed to, not just protection of our own student community here at MSU, but our community here in Denver. It is something that I do feel like it has been slowly creeping up, and then, it is here. And as long as that we can do what we can do for our communities, our efforts, our integrity that we hold together, I believe those are our strengths here, and I believe this will only make us stronger. I have two questions. I'll go with Sai.
And then Matt.
Yeah, this is just more understanding for the 500. Is that you say per event, but 500 initially for the October, was it 22nd?
Follow up, Scott?
This resolution imposes an initial limit of $500 per event. Yes. So if sustainability wanted to spend more money, they would need to come back with either another resolution or a motion and approval in TSAC, which would likely involve working with the budget committee as well. So.
Matt?
Thank you. Do we have any idea how much CU Denver or CCD is trying to advocate for these?
Scott?
We do not have an idea yet. I certainly don't have a number, but I imagine it will be probably a little bit more than $500 from them. I'm putting forth 500 initially as my request, so that in the future, if in planning that we deem that we need more money, I can come back and request more if need be. But if not, $500 is great.
I did have a question regarding that with the CU Denver and CCD. What have the discussions been about their budget as of right now? I know they haven't officially confirmed anything, but is there any idea of how much they're thinking about contributing, if at all?
They both expressed interest in contributing. I don't really have more. I should hopefully know more tomorrow when we meet, but they both plan to contribute. I'm hoping I can go tomorrow and say that we are definitely contributing and explain.
Mr. Golds.
Congrats on this amazing resolution. Can you clarify your point to coming back to TSAC for approving new monies or new amounts, please?
Direct response, Scott?
Yeah, I think it's important to impose a limit on a resolution and not just authorize funding for it. I like to put a limit on it. That's why I did. So that if we did end up wanting to spend more money than that, we would have to come back and ask for it before we could. I know that there's times in the past we've written resolutions that sort of just authorize us to spend money and didn't have a number on it. I view it's important to have a number. I chose 500 initially. Does that answer your question, or do you mean to clarify about like if we decide we want more money, how I was planning to come back? Is that what you're asking, or?
No, I just wanted it to be stated for the record.
Yeah, I'm not really planning to come back and ask you for more money. I'm just always thinking about if there is an opposed limit, what if we need more than that? Always thinking about the what if, but that's not my plan. So
thank you.
Ms. Fox.
I think this is just a clarification on the rest of the questions already asked. Do we know how many events they're hoping to host, so that we could have a better idea of maybe where that $500 is going to? I know it says for the initial event, but I assume this won't necessarily cost $500 for one event. So if we just know where this is going.
Scott?
When I originally wrote this resolution, I was imagining TSAC being like one of the primary planner that makes sort of like the decisions on planning. And so if we planned another event, that would be informed by TSAC. It has sort of evolved into a, sort of like a coalition of folks planning this. So yes, this resolution authorizes $500 per event. I think it is important to clarify that we would need to reauthorize the additional 500 in some way. Do you have an amendment to propose?
Direct response.
I guess I'd just like to know if I think it'd be fine to put down an initial 500. I think that's fine. But I think that could probably apply to multiple events instead of just per event and then agreeing to indefinite events.
What do you think about allowing the sustainability committee to approve participation in future events? This resolution approves the funding for them, but if TSAC is going to participate in future events, if it's a success and the committee that's separate from TSAC that forms wants to do another one, they could just come to sustainability. Obviously, we need to update, but for additional $500, sustainability could approve the participation in the event under this resolution. I think now I have a constitutional question.
Mr. Rathbun.
No, it's just something I noticed that was different from the first version of this one that I think might potentially address Emma's question. Because on the previous one, you had it the 500, but you stated, I believe it was 4 events. So then that would, I don't remember if it was 4 or 5, but that would give it that cap of like a full thing versus I think the more open. Is it 500 every week? Is it, et cetera?
I don't believe any past version of this resolution said 4. I had told the council that that's what I'm hoping, if that's like sort of like the maximum amount I would want to do essentially. If this is a big success, this semester is getting closer to being over. So one event during this semester and then 2 during next semester and possibly 1 over the summer. That is if it was repeated. I could not imagine doing more than 4 of these. Yes, so I don't believe it was ever written in the document. That was just me proposing to the council. I don't want to put 4 in this document because what if we only do it once? You know, and what if we do it twice and that's it? I don't want to have a number in there that's like, not necessarily you have to do 4, but even imposing an upper bound is like thinking that you would do 4, and I don't want to imply that because maybe we only do 1 of these. That's my reason for not putting a limit on the number of events.
Susanna?
I think I recall what you said, Matt. I think that was mentioned during the budget meeting when that money was proposed of how much it was how much sustainability is getting, and throughout the proposal it says at least 4, and I believe 1 in the summer, but I might be wrong.
That was in the initial, the first one that we had last week. This one was reintroduced. So looking at the screen right here on the bottom, I think that's where it was last time. Is CELO reserving 500 per event. These funds will be taken from Senate committee funds. So that's what everyone's discussing right now. I wanted to clarify with you, Sky. So you're just stating that for this particular resolution, we're just stating we're going to be funding 500 for the first event. And if there were to be any more, we would have to have another resolution progress after. However, currently, right now, what we're going to be voting on is just for the 500 for this initial event to possible more. Correct?
Yes, I see the point Matt's trying to make. So I have an offer to the council. I'm going to make a motion to amend this to, in the therefore be it resolved, between the first one and the second one, add a further be it resolved, the Sustainability Committee can approve participation in future events authorized under this resolution up to a maximum of 4. Any additional events would need to come before the council.
We have a second.
No, it would need a second and it would need to pass.
We have a second. Yeah. Matt.
So when it's a friendly amendment to a amendment to the resolution, it's not a friendly amendment to the author, it's a friendly amendment to the council.
Okay.
Essentially, a little over 24 hours ago, I gave notice of the exact text of this document for everyone to read. I'm now proposing a change. I want it to be voted on.
Okay, do we have a second to the motion?
I second that motion.
All righty, I'll open the floor to discussion to the motion. Faye?
I would like to call the question of the amendment to this motion to be asked, as we are approaching 6 o'clock very quickly. So I would like to ask that we move to vote on the amendment specifically.
Okay, so no discussion. Let's move on to vote. I would like to do a vote by roll call, and I would like to ask every when Councilor to say aye and then nay, and we'll there forward. All right.
Use this one.
Sure. All righty. I'm going to be beginning by another order, so just be ready. Alphabetical order. All righty. Beginning with Cyrus Holt for voting. Roll call.
Aye.
Okay, let's go. Emma Fox,
Aye.
Faye Berry,
Aye.
Maria Garcia,
Aye.
Matthew Rathbun.
Without the friendly amendment that was proposed, I'm gonna unfortunately need to go.
This is for the friendly
Clarification,
amendment.
this is for the
Oh, this
amendment.
is for the
Yes.
friendly amendment. Sorry, we jumped ahead. Like, okay, then aye. For the
Alrighty.
friendly amendment, I vote yes.
Patrick Severa, aye. Rowan East,
Aye.
Sky Say Childress,
Aye.
Steffi Calero,
Aye.
Susana Villagomez,
Aye.
Irvi Paul,
Aye.
William Coates.
Aye.
Alrighty, by majority, seems, and actually unanimously, the motion, friendly amendment passes. So if we could get that, edited, I'm not sure. If there. Yeah, Sky?
I have the language recorded on official documents. It'll be fixed later. Can you call did you say that passed? I wasn't.
Yeah.
Okay. I motion to adopt the resolution as amended.
Alrighty, it seems like here I would like to just open for a quick minute. If there's any quick discussion points so we can move on with business, as Faye did mention, it's already 6 p.m. So just to get everything, if you guys can look at the agenda, we have from 5:45 to 6:58 for new business, and we have yet to finish old business. So if there's any particular questions, really important ones, let's get it going. Yeah, Matt.
Absolutely. It's exactly as I read it. It is further be it resolved, the Sustainability Committee can approve participation in future events authorized under this resolution up to a maximum of 4 events. Any additional events would need to be approved by SGTSEC.
Okay, I would like to motion for approval of this resolution. I'd like to motion a vote. Do I have a second?
Seconded.
Okay, I would like to open discussion on the motion.
Point of clarification.
Yep.
I believed that was a motion to call it to a vote. And I think discussion had already happened. So I believe now we are voting, but please correct me if I'm wrong.
Now, we also have the opportunity to, I think, to also, if we motion to vote to talk, but I think that's an excellent idea. Let's call, I would like to call for a vote. I would like to do roll call. Likewise, this again. Yes, sir, I know, but we got it. All right. I will begin as sequenced earlier. Cyrus Holt.
Aye.
Emma Fox.
I'm gonna abstain.
Faye Berry.
Aye.
Maria Garcia.
Aye.
Matthew Rathbun.
Aye.
Patrick Cervera. Aye. Rowan East.
Aye.
Sky Say Childress.
Aye.
Steffi Calero.
I'm gonna abstain.
Susana Villagomez.
Aye.
And Irvi Paul.
Aye.
William Coates.
Aye.
Alrighty. Just by a majority vote, the resolution passes. Congratulations, everybody. This is a step forward, and I feel like we have many to come. Alrighty, just to move on for next business, we have revisit TSAC goals and accountability with Maria Garcia.
Okay, so I kind of wanted to bring this to light just because I feel like we haven't really focused on our goals, and I feel like that's something we should transition more into, considering that we're already a month into school. This is our 6th meeting. And I feel like a lot of the conversations that we're having right now are focused more on internal issues rather than other issues. And sometimes our conversations just go back and forth on the same topic, and we can't really move on to talk about something new. I feel like we could also do things that are more important. I don't want to say more important, but we could transition into other topics that also need attention. Comparing, I know this is my first time doing student government, but comparing these meetings to the trustee meetings, they are obviously different, but a lot of the things that how we manage are significantly different. And I feel like if we focus more on the TSEC goals that we initially had talked about during the summer, that would really help us rather than, like I said, going back and forth about a topic for a while. But yeah, I don't know if anyone would like to say anything.
Emma, and I would like to, I was just gonna ask you, is there any way we can pull up like our goals, like so we can physically see it? And Miss Fox, please. So sorry.
I just want to say that I completely agree that I think that we should really focus a lot of our, I think we did a really, really good job drafting, and I think that was one of our most productive times is when we were talking about our goals. And I could feel the passion from people. So I think we should really start focusing on that. That's been a really big concern for me in my personal advocacy, and I am working on something that I'll present hopefully next meeting to kind of help with that. I don't want to say too much on it in the meantime.
No, I think it's absolutely right. So if everyone could pay attention to either the actually really 4 screens that are available to us. Right now we have we're reciting our practices and our goals. So I would just like to read it off just so everyone, if deciding out right here. All right. So our first goal for 2025, priorities and goals, everyone please pay attention. We have to ensure TSAC keeps a holistic approach to student advocacy, following the improving the structures of TSAC. Student outreach and engagement with creating community-led events. And lastly, combat the Roadrunner runaround to ensure holistic university accessibility to all constituents. I'd like to see if anyone has anything else to say. Okay.
I would just say that for the Roadrunner runaround, that I have been in conversations with both faculty and staff senate, and this is a problem they are seeing as well. So this has been a thing that I have been looking to get some things started on, and I hope to bring some things to ask for council advice on next steps soon.
Thank you so much, Faye. Matt, and then Sky.
I also just want to throw out there that Will's taken some initiative to work on some of the ways that we're making our office space welcoming and usable for student orgs. So open some of those policies.
Sky.
On 1.1 there, communicate effectively with the student body. I really think that TSAC should, and I hate it, but table a little bit some more this year. I know we've done it in the past, and I would love to help with that and the PR committee. I would invite the PR chairs to add it to the next PR meeting as a point.
Direct response, Susanna?
Yes. My only direct response is the lack of communication. Have you ever noticed that Steffi have sent out multiple times of if you're available or not, and none of you, not to call out anybody else, but response back and just sign up when you are available. So the tabling is something I have thought about, but lack of communication. If there's no communication, there's no tabling in my personal point of view.
Sky.
I am curious. No one responded to it, I believe.
No, just like probably 1, 2 people, and Steffi send out multiple reminder. We have mentioned multiple times that to sign up link, it is in the OneDrive under the standing committee under PR to submit sign up events link. But yeah.
Direct response, Sky?
Yeah, I want to invite counselors to fill out those forms.
Likewise, I did want to. Oh, okay. Give me. I would like to say something. I want to give everyone a chance to, but I do feel like we are. If this is a resolution that we have passed today, ladies and gentlemen, that is a progress to what we're going to go. We could go to over 3 student outreach and engagement by creating community-led events. I Know Your Rights training was not just for our students; it was for all communities, staff, faculty. That is part of it. And I feel like we are going on the right track right now. I think Maria's right. We have been getting a little bit caught into like a little bit of the weeds of what we're doing. But last year, our biggest goal was to finish the Constitution. So this year, we can move forward with our community events, move forward with our student body improvements, the community engagement. Like, how can TSAC itself be able to help out our community be more active, be able to people. When we go to a class, people know that the student government is there. That's what I feel like it's been something that all of us have been impassioned to. And a lot of us are in our candidate running. That's something that we strongly felt to improve. And I feel like it's okay that we're stuttering a little bit, but I think slowly we can easily get back onto this. And with PR, everyone here is technically part of PR committee. Each counselor, we may not be chairs, but we are a part of that. And that is something where if you have a community-led input or an event, that is where we can communicate. So Sana even allowed us to do a sign-up link, like an event request form. So even if you aren't able to make to the PR committee, you have the ability to express ideas there. You have the ability to communicate with other councils, other governments, just like Sky did. There's a lot of opportunity that we have here, and it's all about what we can do, what we have to do. Yeah.
I just want to offer some insight at the effectiveness that tabling can do. Last year, when TSAC decided to do tabling, it was a great opportunity to hand out school supplies. It was done in October. I want to say early October we did that. And then the other thing is that some ideas came out about how to get involved in TSAC, which then prompted folks to write the delegate program, which was really good. We as advisors can help you make your tabling really great. I mean, last year we picked up donuts for it, different pastries, coffee, things like that. Happy to do that again. Happy to help support you all if that's something you all decide to do. But we can definitely make tabling something regular. And other councils or student governments that I've worked with, that was a monthly occurrence for student governance. And that was a way they were able to get the word out. I yield.
I would like to say, Sana, do you have a follow-up? Because Maria was going to do it. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I adjourned to what I was going to say. You can move on.
Okay, dokie. Susana?
Like what Steven said, we did the tabling and advisors. They're obviously a huge help in PR in getting us catering, getting us supplies, getting us decoration, a lot of things. But it won't work if I don't have the proper attendance. And it does, like, for example, for the coffee roundup, like some council did sign up but then say like, hey, I can't make it one time, I can't make it because something else. Just remember, when the moment you do sign up, you're all fully committed, and we all registering you has an attendance tracker right there. It makes it very difficult because me, Steffi, and Ovi are also students. We also need to graduate, and we also have other priorities here. If I just don't have attendance, I'm not willing to force or make a tabling event or any other event because it requires a lot of manpower.
Mr. Coates, and I would like to say that I would like, if there's any, I feel like we have strong opinions here, but if it's anything too direct, let's keep it short.
Yeah, I'd like to remind the council that the Constitution specifically says if you sign up for an event and you do not show up, it is considered an unexcused, as in like unexcused, like not showing up to a formal meeting type of unexcused. So that is something the accountability committee will take into consideration.
Sai?
Yeah, just really quickly, are we thinking about looping these in with the period equity committee tabling? Is that what, because these are the signups that are on the SharePoint.
Yeah, those are the sign up. We just haven't added the takeover Instagram yet because we're still editing on that. But basically, any event that is proposed, like for the immigrant training, right, we do have to work on it since the resolution had been passed and Sky did submit a event approval. We are starting to work with Sustainability to make that possible.
Thank you, Susanna. Sky?
I think this is a very important discussion. I think this is not necessarily about revisiting TSAC's goals and accountability. And I wanted to see if Maria had any other direction that they wanted to take this agenda item. And if not, I would hope we would move on and add this to a future agenda if this is important to discuss.
I agree with what Sky is saying. I think we could also start also move on, but something I also want to add is we can start actually setting dates and hold ourselves accountable for specific items, specifically for our goals. Yeah.
Alrighty, thank you guys so much. We're going to be moving on to new business. So I'm going to start off back to Ms. Garcia to elect a representative for the Student Code of Conduct Review Committee.
Yeah, so I brought this up just because Andrew McGeehan, he's an associate for the Dean of Students. He had reached out to me to let me know if we had elected someone. I let him know that we haven't yet, which is why I wanted to bring this up. But he also let me know that they wanted me, the student trustee, on part of that committee, but they also wanted one other council member. It is, you do have to work in between meetings and have specific work. It's a full review of the Code of Student Conduct that involves editing, updating, and publishing a new code by fall 2026.
Bye.
I want to say I think that's very interesting. I had talked to Dean Tackett about this before over the summer, and I think it's a very interesting thing. I'd love to be a part of it. The reason why I hadn't sort of proposed to have someone added to it is I was waiting on an email back from Dean of Students to see how many they wanted, but if 2 is the number, that's awesome. I also want to say that I don't think that we should be I don't think that committees should ask for like a specific role from within TSAC, because I do feel that that's is sort of enforcing a little bit of a hierarchy, but I do think you'd be perfect for it. But so I would hope we would go into some sort of like nominations period for this, or if there was no more discussion.
Yeah,
thank
it seems like we have a direct response from Marie.
Yeah, I do agree. I wasn't necessarily saying, oh, pick me for this position. I was just sharing that information as to what I was told.
Okay, yeah, Will?
I motion that we start this process, this.
Do I have a second?
I second.
Fantastic, alrighty. Let's open up the floor to nominations.
Can you call that motion?
I'll call that motion for a vote.
Just
Is there any opposition? You have any opposition? Nope. Okay. Open nominations period is open. Squilliam.
I do believe Maria would be a great representative on that committee, and I wish to nominate you, Maria.
I accept.
Okay. Sky?
I'm going to self-nominate for this. I actually had been through the Student Code of Conduct process at my previous institution, and I think I have a lot of really cool insight into that, and I'd love to represent our students in that regard.
Do we have any other nominations? Seeing as we are only 2 positions that need to be filled, and we have 2 nominations already and no contest, I'd like to motion for approval of our new representatives for the Student Code of Conduct Review Committee.
I second that motion.
Okay, do we have to vote for that?
Just any opposed?
Any opposition? Oh, all righty. Motion passes. Congratulations, Sky and Maria. All right. Following through with our business, we have ABOD Vote Initiative with Rowan East. Take it away.
Hi, so I'll keep this pretty brief. Essentially, currently FACAP and SACAP's representatives to the Auraria Board of Directors. While they have a seat on the board, we don't have an actual vote on them. So this year we're going to be working to change that because I think it's important for those representing faculty and students on ABOD to have just as much of a voice on there as the rest of the board. So I just wanted to put that on y'all's radar as soon as possible, that we're going to be working on that. I think that tri-institutionally, the 3 student governments can play a really important role in gaining campus community support for this and frankly, letting people know what what the hell SACAB is, because a lot of people have not heard of us. The same issue with TSAC and with the other student government associations at CCD and CU. So yeah, I just think that that's if y'all would like to be plugged into that, I'd love to plug TSAC into that effort.
Thank you so much, Rowan. I have a quick question. You said are you saying that is CU and CCD also kind of getting on this, or is this just discussion between us?
Yeah, no, totally. I know like the SACAB reps for CU are talking to this with CU as well. I've reached out to CCD about this the SACAB reps for CCD. I haven't heard back yet, but I'm working on getting this getting the ball rolling for this effort tri-institutionally.
I saw Will's hand, and then we'll go to Sky.
I don't want to bar any discussion on this. I think this is something that TSAC in general has been pursuing for years, and myself included last year on SACAB and the year before that. And I would love for myself to motion to formally and publicly support you in this this task, this monumental task, in representing student voice on that board.
Do we have a second to the motion?
Second.
Discussion of the motion. I'll open it. Sky?
I just wanted to ask them to clearly state the motion one more time.
So I motion that TSAC approve, or in a way vote, this sentiment of getting representation on that board officially and publicly. We've never done it publicly or officially. We've always talked about it, but I think we need to really cement it with a vote of approval.
Sky?
Does this language work for you? Motion that SUTSAC endorse SACAB's effort to obtain a vote on ABOD.
Yes.
Emma?
I think that's great, but what does that entail out of us? Like, what kind of support do you need? I know you need support, but like, what action steps would you like us to take to advocate for this?
Yeah, so I was envisioning that this working with the PR committee on sort of a campus campaign to gain the student support for this. I know that we talked earlier about tabling for TSAC efforts. So I was hoping to enlist PR support in tabling. I was envisioning in the future doing maybe some like petitioning work of like, hey, do you think that the students and faculty representatives on ABOD should be able to have a vote on that board? And I mean, obviously that's something that I would like to take up a lot. And if y'all are interested in being in making those sorts of efforts, that would be incredible.
Thank you. Scott?
My perception of this, if this were to pass, TSAC is answering one question, and it's saying we want SACAB to have a vote on ABOD. It's not an entire resolution with like steps on how we're going to support. If we do that, we could do that future. We could have an MSU TSAC initiative on how to support SACAB if we wanted to. But this is essentially saying that MSU Denver Student Government affirms that that SACAB should have a vote on ABOD.
Okay. Susanna, is it brief?
I just wanted to comment on Rowan. PR is always welcome to work with any committee or any advisory committee. Just to remind you all that PR basically maintain the image of TSAC. That's what PR is. And anything that has us collectively support has TSAC, that what PR is going to support has. So, yeah.
Thank you so much for that reminder, Susanna. Do we have a motion to vote on Will's motion?
Point of order.
Our second?
Yeah. I was just going to say that if there's no more discussion, we could just call.
Yeah. Cool. Calling for a vote then. I feel like this one, I wanted to see if there's any, I don't feel like much contestation. Any opposition? Passes by unanimous consent. Congratulations. All righty. Moving forward, we have read through executive assistant duties and responsibilities with advisors. And I'll hand it off to Mrs. Fox. What, Miss Fox? Sorry.
I'm getting old. Okay. So, all right. Sorry. So I just thought that we should, now that we have an executive assistant who's not here today, so maybe. Okay, no worries. I think we can still go through this and still have it be helpful. Maybe just a recap with the executive assistant for later as well, or have her watch the meeting. I would like to I think with the lack of executive assistant, we all sort of started self-delegating some of those tasks. And there was a lot of confusion, and I think it led to some contention in the council. So I think that I would just like to refer to our advisors who hired the executive assistant and have us maybe just read through those responsibilities and duties so we can really empower our executive assistant and make sure that they have a good role here and are supporting us and we're supporting them. So yeah.
The response, Armando?
Yeah. So reading through the executive assistant job description is the position is not a council member, will not have voting power. The position will serve under the same student employee for continuous number of semesters if eligible. This person is a highly determined, motivated individual to serve the executive assistant for the council. Those duties would be required too. I'm going to nix the kind of obvious ones that are job description, but assist in coordination of day of logistics of SG-TSAC meetings, have ability to be in person in TSAC office throughout the academic week. If anyone knows, Keegan is in the office, ideally 2 to 5 every day, besides council days, 2 to 7, or meeting days, 2 to 7, sorry. Attend weekly TSAC meetings, emergency meetings, and other TSAC meetings based on availability. Take minutes for each of the SG TSAC meetings. Assist the advisors in managing official web pages and marketing of SG TSAC. Communicate and monitor the SG TSAC email to council members, chairs, and/or advisors. Coordinate meetings and appointments for the SG TSAC council members, if able to and eligible. Coordinate when guest speakers will come in for SG-TSAC meetings, create weekly office hours schedule of council members, creates 2 weeks out in advance of office hour schedules. So just taking any like, hey, won't be here, just kind of letting them know would be best practice. Where are we at? Receives supervision from SG-TSAC advisors, CMEI pro staff, receives direction and support from co-chairs of the SG-TSAC in terms of how they want to organize meeting and logistics, works along council members to ensure operational needs are being met. That really refers to the office operations, keeping things stocked for you all, or any supplies that you all need, X, Y, and Z. Works with advisors to help manage MSU Denver hosted SG-TSAC website, serve as a marketing and outreach assistance for the council, including but not limited to working and handling social media and digital outreach, scheduling, and maintenance. So that is helping the PR chair make sure, hey, we have an event in 2 weeks. I haven't seen a flyer. We need to get on it. That's the kind of sentiment with that. Assist with marketing design if able to and as needed with the PR committee. Assist with email communications and outreach within the election season in collaboration with elections manager and advisors. And then general assistant CMEI office general duties. That is more CMEI focused as they are a CMEI employee. All of our CMEI employees have an expectation to help out with all hands on deck events, which is Rowdy's Rally, Convocate, like all that kind of stuff that CMEI host. They are kind of responsible in our end to help us out with that, and then other duties as assigned.
Thank you so much, Armando.
Yeah. Did you have any questions on that in terms of?
No, I just think that we should, especially with things like the meeting minutes and the agenda, we were kind of talking about that last time, and I think Keegan was pretty new, so they didn't have anything to contribute to what their job was. And we'd been operating without one. So those of us that aren't in TSAC, good to know. And then just really empowering that role again, because we took on some of those, the last point that you really made about like marketing, stuff like that. I think that'd be a huge help to, Susanna, keeping things on track. And, if you feel like you're doing any of those job responsibilities, I guess maybe just don't, or, talk to Keegan, just so we're not stressed out and we can put our advocacy elsewhere, instead of like minute office tasks that Keegan is hired to do.
I got Sky and then Will.
I wanted to ask the advisors who supervise this role. So our executive assistant working about 3 hours a day, not counting Thursdays. How do you all like manage like planning out what that workload is going to be like, and like tasks you expect them to complete week to week, day to day, stuff like that?
Can you, what are the specifics of what you're
So
asking?
I don't have like the immediate logistics, but let's say we have a list of tasks that need to be done.
Right.
I'm sort of trying to think about if we do have requests from counselors to do some of those, job duties,
Right.
that we also do a little bit, but to help us with that, is there like a place we could either look on a document that could be created to where we could see if there's like already planned out about 3 hours of work for this day. So let's try to make sure it's on a different day or something like that, to better coordinate with
getting them to
folks on TSAC actually requesting things of Keegan that are reasonable and work well for her work schedule.
Gotcha. Okay, now I understand what you're saying. Love that idea. What I do want to avoid, which happened in the past, is where counselors think that they are their assistant, literally their assistant. This person is everyone's, assistant in hand. We work with them and we have one-on-one meetings scheduled with them throughout the week to kind of figure out, okay, here's logistics of what we need to get done, what we're looking for, X, Y, and Z. Now, I do love the idea of if the council needs some things done, we can work together on creating a document of like, hey, we need to get some of this done, and easily Keegan can manage it. They're highly competent from what we've seen for the last couple of weeks of doing certain tasks that we've asked them. So I will work to send out kind of like a, hey, Keegan, help me list. How does
Thank
that
you.
sound?
Can we call it that?
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Armando.
Yeah.
Will?
A few things. For accountability, I know there's specific language about the EA in the Constitution. I think it would also be fruitful for the council to hear that language as kind of pertains to that discussion. And then second point, or question actually, is with that workload, and this is like just a thought for the advisors, the council, seeing as Keegan is meeting mostly in the afternoon, is there anything for the morning?
The morning, our expectation right now is that so one of her first tasks that we're having her now, she's kind of here for the full week. She's going to be reaching out to you all to coordinate office schedules to concretely put, hey, size in office 2 to 5, or, Will is in office 11 to 1. So that is one of the first tasks. And we're hoping that the council can kind of mitigate that morning part. The fall, we hired them throughout the semester. We can't have them change their school schedule. So hopefully in the spring semester, there'll be a little bit more of that open availability that we can help them plan out. And then if the council will let me, I can read all the statements that say EA in the Constitution. Did you have another question though?
No, not a follow-up, so.
Okay, so language in the Constitution that specifically refers to executive assistant, Article 1, the council, Section 1. It just says each TSAC administration is to be advised by the university's appointed faculty or staff members, with a primary assigned and or secondary assigned being named as needed. There shall be one executive assistant per TSAC cycle. So just naming that they will be there. Advisor roles, the advisor subsection 2, the advisor will serve as the primary supervisor to the TSAC EA, elections commissioner, student volunteers, and any other positions. That's the second time. Fifth time they are meeting or mentioned in the document. Article 2, meetings, section 1, structure. The agenda prepared for the meeting must be made available to the council, the media, and the public if requested 24 hours before the meeting. Council members who wish to introduce bills, amendments, announcements, or other forms of work must notify the chairs and the executive assistant at least 24 hours before the meeting. Next power is, what section is this? Article 3, the powers, Section 3, new powers. Any student working on behalf of SGTSAC, such as the executive assistant or other students in voluntary roles, are under authority of the council's advisors. And then the last time they are mentioned, Article 4, amendments, Section 1, process. Adding, subtracting, and/or replacing text within the Constitution will fall under the duties of the Accountability Committee, while saving or storing the previous unaltered versions of the Constitution alongside past amendments will fall under the duties of the Executive Assistant. Those are the 5 times that Executive Assistant is mentioned within the Constitution. Not doing a sub search for just the word EA. Nothing. Will?
And then last thing, I'm currently working with Tony, the advisors, the authors of a resolution that connects with our goals, that directly ties also with the EA, and also having Keegan's input as to adding systems or refined systems of TSAC resources such as the conference room. So that will be an ongoing process.
I have Sky here.
Yeah, I was also just going to say that me and Keegan spoke twice this week about how the creating of the agenda and the publishing of the agenda should and could work this year after our previous vote from last week. This previous, yesterday I sent the agenda out, but in the future, the executive assistant will be sending the agenda out. Me and Patrick will be making the agenda and sending it to the executive assistant to then be sent out. Just so everyone knows that's what sort of me and Keegan came up with.
This guy, Armando.
I do have a question. I am still a little unclear on what the motion really entailed last week with that chairship controlling the agenda. Are you all taking responsibility for sending out the agenda request sheet at the beginning of each week?
I don't think that was really enumerated in the agenda. I think me and Keegan can talk, or me and Patrick and Keegan can talk about that and figure out, but we'll make sure it happens this Monday and future Mondays. Absolutely.
Because I will say, Keegan was learning everything, but historically EA would send out the request and any office or snacks request, minimize on the snacks, at the beginning of each week. And then they would send out the agenda as well through email and through Teams when the meeting would close. So that is practice that we've had, but I'm just trying to make sure that you all, whatever it fits. Go ahead.
Yeah, if I recall, it's more of if it was more of a framework of the agenda, how we're going to be proceeding, like within it, like the paper itself, like first it's going to be housekeeping, public comment, announcement and updates. That's like really like, I feel that's where the motion was to our responsibility.
So flow, not so much content.
I'll let this guy answer.
Content is individual counselors adding to it. But so when it comes to all those logistics, I think that the chairship can absolutely work very closely with the executive assistant, and we'll most definitely keep you posted as their supervisor. So 100%, we'll make sure that happens. I think doing the same as last year is probably what we're going to do, but I'll talk with Keegan about it.
Flow. Any other questions on that regarding the read through the executive assistant duties and responsibilities? Alrighty, seems like we have gone to that. I'd like to move forward for discussion on elections fund I'll give it away to Sky Childress.
Hi. We've talked a little bit in the last 3 budget meetings about, the previous budget meeting and the 2 meetings ago, about the elections fund and how much we should give to it. For context, last year we allocated $7,000 to the elections fund, and that money was utilized to pay our executive assistant, our elections manager. Words are hard. This year we've allocated out a staff pay fund that includes the elections manager as well. The request from our advisors, at least initially, I don't know if it's still that, and they're coming up with a request for us, but the initial request for the budget committee to allocate is $9,000 this year for the elections fund, which would not include the salary of the elections manager, just the elections fund. So that would go to like election events, elections programming, advertising the election, stuff like that. I wanted to have a discussion with the council. I don't really have a proposal. We'll talk about it at the budget committee meeting. I just wanted the insight from all the councilors so that we can bring that to the budget committee meeting. If anyone has any thoughts on how much money or how much money would be reasonable to allocate to the elections fund. I imagine budget folks want to talk too, so.
Yeah, so, Will. No, go for it. I'd like to hear everyone else.
I think something to consider for this discussion is that I'm not sure what the connections are with area votes on this with our election and whether they also support MSU Denver elections. But I feel like that's an area worth like looking into as well if they provide some kind of help or funding or something like that, since that's really their kind of goal, right? For students to vote on campus. So
I have a follow-up question. Can you go a little bit more in depth about the area votes?
So
What you know?
I believe Emma might know a little more than myself.
Actually, I don't know a ton, but that wasn't what I was going to comment on, but maybe I do. I mean, obviously last year they did a lot. It was a big election year. And then I do know that, like, I guess with the fund, I would just want to make sure we're actually spending it because I think I really care about elections. I think that would be very important and very beneficial to the campus in aligning with our goals. But I absolutely think area votes could probably contribute to a student election in some way. And I think before we fully commit, that would be a really great place for the budget committee to reach out to. So I would just also agree, and I think that's a great point.
Matt?
So I guess I want to clarify the scope of this conversation since the budget committee is still waiting on the proposal from our advisors to actually explain more in depth what the money would be used for.
Sky?
My intent with adding this to the agenda is just for it to be a discussion, no official like voting or deciding. I want to hear input from counselors so that me and the other budget committee members can take that to our meeting. We'll also have a proposal from the advisors. If the advisors have anything to say now, that'd be awesome to hear too. But I'm sort of looking for that input and discussion, not like deciding the question.
Maria?
Okay, so we're not deciding on a number, right? Okay, never mind.
Will?
So to add a little more to the discussion, last year, Sam, our elections manager, every year we try to outdo ourselves in elections because the more student voice we have, the better a democracy we have, right? So I think if we're trying to expand that number of student votes, that not necessarily always translates to more funding, but a lot of times funding does help with that, of course, right? Like Sam would buy lots of pizzas and stuff to try to entice students to come to his table, and he'd be like, we're holding elections and we have these representatives, and he would have the platforms of every counselor there that submitted their stuff, right? And a picture of themselves. And so I think if we are trying to outdo ourselves again this year, which we should always strive to reach as many students as possible on this campus, I do think it's worthwhile investing in the elections fund.
Direct response, Emma? Stephen, do you have the direct response? Or is it? Okay.
So I want to share some of the impetus of the initial proposal and some background and context on it. It does relate to Will talking about investing in the election. So in 2021, you had about 128 plus minus students that voted. In 2022, you had 148 plus minus students that have voted. What I mean by plus minus is just there may be some that are missing, or the number isn't 100% accurate. In 2023, we had 309. 2024, we had 161. In 2025, we had 411. So we had an increase last year, again, all plus or minus. And I would say that in working with Sam last year, Sam had come forth with some initial thoughts, and the goal was and I told Sam this, is like, we should be spending money to help promote the elections, however that looks. What I would like to do this year is not just promote the elections and I'm not saying to incentivize the vote, but truly promote the elections, but also promote candidates for coming out too. Last year, Sam, and I don't have the official numbers in front of me, but Sam spent, let's say, I'm going to give an arbitrary number, right? $1,000 to $2,000. We'll go $1,500 on elections. He spent more than that, but let's say that, right? He did work with Auraria Votes. They did have a drag performer come last year, to which Auraria Votes paid for all of that. They were paying for that with some additional monies that they had. That is not guaranteed. That performer, I believe we paid them or $500. So right then and there, you're looking at $2,000. Sam didn't do a significant amount of programming surrounding the recruitment of the recruitment of candidates to run in the election. I think if you're going to do it equally, you should pour in what you put in for both reaching out to potential candidates, pushing that out, and then marketing the vote. Now, if you have a competitive election, that would be great, because what I've seen at other institutions is that when it's a competitive election or there are student fees on the ballot, that's going to drive students to vote. Nationally, the voting average for student government elections averages in between 10 to 15% of the student population. We are a population here at MSU Denver of approximately 17,000 students. Last year we did 2 weeks worth of elections. And I think years prior it was 1 week. So we're really trying to boost up. What I have worked with other universities, student governments, is programming in the days and weeks leading up to candidate registration, candidate acceptance, events in between there, know your candidates meeting events, as well as events during election week to promote the election. For a campus like this, I would say we probably need a few voting booths around campus, but that's just my thought. So again, I will provide that number. I don't want to craft a plan because they are a student employee, but I will provide some figures to the budget committee to give you all an idea of why that is. Now, I'm absolutely amendable to saying, yeah, $9,000, maybe that's too much. We can go down there. It really depends on what it costs. I yield.
Emma?
I just wanted to add to that last year, Ani, student delegate, she did a ton of working with Sam in the elections, and I think that really helped. So I don't know, I would also offer that if we're looking into funding, whether that's student delegates that aren't running or whatever it is, having more people that are not just the election manager hoping to, hit 100 classrooms to put out information. If we wanted to consider that to our budget, and I think that was really effective.
Mr. Coates?
I'd like to bring something to the attention of the council, something that hasn't really ever not really been discussed. A lot of things revolving around elections is reactive, at least in my perspective. And I was just thinking there are ways of being proactive with the elections in the sense of getting out there before the elections, months before the elections, and not necessarily campaigning for elections, but getting, again, the mission state or one of our goals is connecting or communicating more effectively with the student populace. That I feel like inherently will, when election time comes around, it will help with that goal of getting more people to vote, right? Because now people are aware of who we are by then, and seeing our advocacy by then and wanting to vote or even wanting to run. So I think something to help with that instead of just like pouring money when election time comes is focusing on our goals as a student government.
Sky?
I think think we need an elections fund. I think it's useful to have. I think we don't need $9,000. Also, I think the advisors agree with that. I think there's a number in there, and we'll figure that out in the budget committee. I want to say though that I think the majority of our election spending should be on recruiting candidates more so than just like we have an elections vote. I think a lot of the we have elections vote is a lot of marketing that's pretty cheap. It's like print flyers off, table. It's really only using our elections manager's salary. And I think any counselors that are not running again or that are graduating could support in staffing those tables to advertise the election. And we could we could go a long way to advertise elections in ways that don't cost nearly as much money. But if we have 20 people running for 12 slots next year, those 20 people are going to go out and they're going to campaign themselves and in turn get people to vote. So I want to see the majority of our election spending actually get spent a lot sooner in the year than the election. And I also think that even some of that can also be quite a bit cheaper. But yeah.
Direct response?
Somewhat more like adding to the point. Again, if we are proactive and we do events, we get out there, we entice people to come to our meetings. They find it interesting. And then a lot of times that's how we get new counselors the next cycle is just by like getting out there and, hey, we exist and we are here for you. And that message is very enticing to a lot of students on campus, believe it or not. So to add to your point, that would, I believe, increase the amount of candidates when election time comes. And secondly, revisiting the delegate program and enacting it this semester, hopefully. So, because again, the delegate program, one of its goals is also a pipeline to TSAC or the student government.
Yeah, and then I feel like it's, I feel like we're all saying maybe there's more that we can do, not just for elections, but as counselors ourselves, as or maybe what impact we can do in our elections. It's necessarily it's not just an elections fund and how much we put in or how much our elections manager, but also as future candidates if anyone's returning, or just going to your classroom and just announcing that there's going to be an election, that here are your candidates, maybe things like that. And I think that's a great idea. Will's saying is maybe just have like a subtle way of notifying our campus that this is going to occur. Maybe not today, maybe not next week, maybe not 2 months. Maybe there's a countdown of like 4 months or whatever that we, students can actively see and slowly get in, subtly see, oh, well, we're going to have an elections this week. And if I recall last year, the biggest thing that helped our voting from a lot of students that I spoke when I announced that my classrooms was that Canvas message that popped up. And I feel like that really empowered us too, because it allowed students to vote virtually. And that, just as Stephen said, we can't have like 4, elections booths will help out a lot. But I feel like that's like our mobile booth right there. And I feel like just being able, maybe we can find more ways to incorporate our election, before election season. Sky?
Are there any other substantial comments on this? Okay, I want to put forward a motion that we allocate the next 5 minutes to a public comment period. Given we did have a member of the public express interest in giving comments at the end of our meeting, not for like recurring, just for today.
I second that motion.
Motion passes. Is there any opposition though? No. Okay. All righty. So I'm willing to see motion passes. Congratulations. All right. I wanted to see for our public here, I want to see if you, given this is, you mentioned that, just over here, and if you had any comments or any questions or concerns,
I think a lot of decisions were made this meeting and it was very informative. Personally, I don't have any comments. I think it was a great opportunity for me to be here as a first timer for this meeting and see like what the student government council is like and what they do, and see all of the advisors and stuff. So it was a really nice meeting for me to sit in on.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Now we have Sky. Do you have a response for that?
No, I was just gonna thank you and then motion to adjourn.
Yeah.
Second.
Second to adjourn. Any opposition? Motion passes.
Thank you, bye.
Oh, I did want to invite anyone that's interested in working on the guidelines and procedures for the chairship. Me and Patrick are meeting immediately after this to do that. So feel free to jump in if you'd like.